I could feel his power all the way from the lookout. It's the kind of feeling that gives you chills because you've never felt anything like it before. You're not just fighting a Saiyan. You're fighting a monster.
Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, is someone who, to this day, can be considered a pretty divisive individual in the grand scheme of Dragon Ball. The reason, not least of which being his power level. There are multiple statements about Broly over the course of Dragon Ball Z's history, some of which to conflict with others. And before even getting into where he should go specifically, I need to address the fact that Akira Toriyama never says the movies are not canon to the anime. 2, he gives authority to the Daizenshuu, and Koyama, who has contradicted his past self on multiple different occasions and definitely seems pretty forgetful, as we'll get into in this video, also says that Akira Toriyama is right, which, using this line of reasoning, the Daizenshuu would have the greatest authority in Dragon Ball as far as we should be concerned, and the Daizenshuu has multiple implications of multiple movies being canon. So, understand that when we're going to look at Broly in this video, we are going to be taking into account with the movies, without the movies, and with Koyama's interpretation how strong he should be. So right off the bat, when the fight begins, we see Broly being capable of taking an Ascended Super Saiyan kick to the back of the neck and it doing absolutely nothing at all. After this, we see when Broly powers up, he consistently has a power level where he's capable of even one-shotting mastered Super Saiyans with ease. He then goes on to have basically the reverse fight that Cell gets, where instead of him getting the Senzu Bean, they get the Senzu Bean. And he then proceeds to body all of them once again, except for now with the help of Piccolo, who is displayed to be roughly around that Ascended Super Saiyan tier of power. This is worth noting because in the beginning of the movie, Goku actually begins to believe that there's a possibility that Broly could be stronger than him after learning about Broly destroying the South Galaxy. He doesn't say that he is, he says it is a possibility, giving Broly at least galaxy levels of power right off the bat. But if we're scaling Broly directly to the anime at this point, especially considering Koyama in his mind does think Broly is at least stronger than everyone in the anime up to that point, he would be stronger than Frieza, who's hit with a Genki Dama that contains the Genki throughout the infinite Dragon Ball universe. He's even stronger than Cell, who has statements about being able to destroy the universe. And to clarify for anyone who might be confused, those are not Buhan level feats. There is an observable Dragon Ball universe and an unseen Dragon Ball universe. They are capable of destroying the observable Dragon Ball universe, not the overlapping dimensions as we see with Super and with Buhan. Broly's speed at this point can also be upscaled into infinite levels of speed, considering the ships in the Dragon Ball universe are capable of crossing the infinite nebulas that exist within the verse. Frieza and Cell are both stated to casually be capable of keeping up with these ships by Koyama himself, and using his logic, knowing he believes Broly to be far greater, he is capable of the same thing. Next, it's worth noting that not only does Broly's power increase dramatically as he fights, he's also skilled enough to combat all of these individuals at one time and outdo them all in terms of combat skill. Also, take into account the amount of time it takes for the comet to hit the planet, it shows Broly, while fighting at these high-end levels, is capable of fighting for hours on end. The last key point that's worth noting for his first outing is the fact that when Goku defeats him, officially it is stated he was defeated by a power that is 1,000 times Goku's original power level, meaning Broly scales closer to being roughly around 1,000 times their power level by the end of the first movie. Although not quite equaling it, as his punch was not only stopped by this Goku, but it took only a single punch to kill him, or so they believed. In his next movie, where he would be confirmed to have gotten stronger, receiving a Zenkai boost from the first, he would then fight a post-Cell Games awakened Gohan, going Super Saiyan 2, proving himself to be too much. This Gohan also surpassing everyone else in terms of skill, yet being bullied by Broly. But there are not really many feats really worth noting in this movie that take place. He is just confirmably even more powerful, along with Bio Broly being confirmed and stated to be the strongest of the three Brolys. And in that movie, Goten, Trunks, and Android 18, while many people do not know this, are all on the level of Super Saiyan Gohan during the World Martial Arts Tournament, meaning he technically is fighting a greater level of power in that final movie. Broly's second power scale, which we now are going to be taking a look at, involves him being confirmably stronger than every prior movie villain to his introduction. This is important because Garlic Jr., someone who is in fact anime canon, has a 5D feat in his movie creating the Dead Zone, something referred to as a hyperspace and a superspace. Secondly, for his level of speed, Broly is in fact capable of outpacing people like Metacooler by a lot, someone who themselves are capable of outpacing Goku using instant transmission. This is also pretty consistent once we hit the Bio Broly level, where Koyama believes Bio Broly to be considered the strongest of the movie villains. Now, whether or not that holds up to scrutiny is a lot more debatable. It is worth noting if he is in that top tier level of power, he likely will be stronger than Kid Buu, someone not only capable of destroying Otherworld, a planet that is considered to be the size of the living physical Dragon Ball universe. He likely also would upscale from Kid Buu being able to be stated to destroy the entirety of the Dragon Ball verse, along with him being able to outpace potentially Shin's instant transmission technique. Now, for what is to me Broly's most interesting line of scaling by far is the fact that Koyama has stated he has not seen GT or Super, but he talks about the Z continuity. He does specifically reference two things that when paired together make him fairly interesting. He states that Broly is not stronger than Beerus, but he isn't talking about Super Beerus, he's talking about the Battle of Gods version of Beerus. But he never says that he isn't stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Goku. As a matter of fact, he has a statement stating specifically that Broly is an opponent Goku could never beat on his own, meaning it is very potentially possible, considering that the Z continuity and the Super continuity are not shared, that Broly is in fact stronger than the Battle of Gods version of Goku. But now, to wrap this video up, it is worth noting that there is one potential meta that does get him a little bit higher, which is essentially if we include Garlic Jr.'s arc within the anime, where his Dead Zone is now capable of working on Namek Saga level individuals in comparison to his first introduction on pre-Saiyan Saga individuals, and in particular it's capable of working on Piccolo, who has roughly around a second form Frieza level of power, while his first 5D Dead Zone was only capable of working on pre-Saiyan Saga established individuals. This is important because it clearly establishes that within the Z Toei anime, instead of them getting stronger in the way of blowing up thousands of more universes, they have the capability of, once their power level passes a certain threshold, of moving to a higher dimensional level of power. So, to reiterate, Broly is at bare minimum in the infinite 3D universal tier of power with infinite levels of speed, while on the higher end he's on a 5D level of power. He can potentially take it even further than that, while at least at bare minimum moving faster than instant transmission. He has one of the highest skill ceilings in Dragon Ball, the capability to fight for hours on end, and certainly has an argument for being the strongest movie villain. I don't necessarily agree, but he is 100% in the top 3 alongside Janemba and Haruna Guard. And as I said in the beginning, this was to use the most consistent scale for Broly. If you don't, and you use all of Koyama's statements, or the ones people love to pick and choose, then he's even weaker than Kid Buu and probably would have been killed by the Genki Dama on Namek if he's only Galaxy level. But let me know what you think. Do you think Broly is the strongest movie villain, or do you agree with me he's likely top tier but not quite the strongest one?